Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 115 of A Double and Dice. And today we have a special guest who's never ever came on this podcast before. And it took a while. It
So
took
you're
a
not
while
talking
to get
about me
this
then?
guest. No.
I'm here most of the time.
You're not a guest.
I guess I'm not special either.
Well,
Is that
you're
what
all
you're saying?
special.
I'm not gonna
Everybody's
read
special.
into
Remember,
it.
we had this conversation in one of the episodes.
Everyone is special.
But-
No, we do have a special
Yes.
guest. A special guest from all the way around the world. And while it is nighttime for us, it is morning for her. And we'd like to welcome Robyn to the podcast.
Yay!
Robyn also goes by Red171 on Discord. And Robyn, where exactly in Australia are you located? Like not like your address or
I'm in
your
Perth.
GPS coordinates.
I'm in Perth, Western Australia.
Western Australia, okay.
Yeah.
In Perth, okay. My geography of Australia is a little rocky. Like Australia, there's some rocks there, I think. So
Just a few.
and snakes and spiders, and that's about all I know.
Really
And
big
Robyn.
spiders.
That's all you really need to know.
I would like to go
And
there
Dice
sometime.
Masters.
And Dice Masters, which is super exciting. So Robyn, tell us a little bit about how you got interested and involved with playing Dice Masters.
My partner actually showed me it. So we were playing a little bit of Pokemon TCG, just learning it, and he thought that I might enjoy Dice Masters. He pulled out all the dice, and immediately I was like, "Oh, yes, you've got me."
So did
This is
he
the thing.
own it before?
Yeah, so
okay.
he only had two sets. So he had Ant-Man and Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's all we were playing for a little while at home, and then within a couple of weeks, I think I'd bought my first set, and the obsession kind of just grew from there.
As it
Oh,
often
yes.
does.
And what was your first set?
My first set was Deadpool,
Okay.
Nice.
and it took me a while to expand out of single set. Like, I was obsessive about keeping all teams in the same set. I didn't like mixing it up. I was scared of losing where each card belonged to.
Okay.
I was definitely on the back foot for a little while of not having all the big combos because it was very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that though, because sometimes I find single set is more balanced because the cards are play tested against one another in theory, typically, master mold notwithstanding. But I think generally, like when WizKids playtest product, they playtest it within set. They don't necessarily playtest it within the larger context of the game. I think the same thing happens with HeroClix, that they playtest in set, but not necessarily outside of set. So if you play in set, in theory, it should be a little bit more balanced. There's always going to be something stronger and something a little bit weaker, but I could see how that would be a good way to get started. But definitely as you get more into it, you need the combos, and the combos require you to expand out of the individual sets, right?
Yeah, especially to really build the team that I was running, because one of the first pulls I got from it was the X23 super rare. And so I was trying to build a team around that, but I just didn't have the support in set to really make it work. And then when I finally caved and started looking outside of set, it's now one of my better teams. Now it works how I want it to.
So X23 super rare out of Deadpool is X23 Blades of Rage.
Yes.
Yes.
Looks like it's a 5-cost bolt. When X23 attacks, roll all dice in all players' prep areas. For each energy rolled, X23 gets +2 attack. Count energy symbols, not faces that show energy. Return all rolled dice to their respective prep areas. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Ouch,
I
fielding
paired
cost,
that. Yeah, a little bit. So I pair that with Medusa Tangled Up with Deadly. She can block up to 2 character dice. And then I pair that with Black Bolt, King of the Inhumans. When fielded, target character die you control gets +2 defense. If that character die has deadly, all opposing character dice must block that die if able. So I have Medusa out, I have X-23 out, I field Black Bolt, everything needs to block Medusa. Roll X-23, roll all the prep areas. All that damage has to go through because everything's blocking Medusa.
Right, but what you need there is prep, and if I remember correctly, there wasn't a whole ton of prep in Deadpool.
That was the problem I was getting, so then I started looking outside a set for that. So PXG, got Atlas, a few others to give the prep, because it also, that's enticing for the opponent to use the prep.
Yep.
And then you use that against them.
Yep, everybody likes their PXG.
And in theory, you can get a 1 dice kill, depending on how that prep rolls.
Yeah, for sure. Especially
and
with
I've
like
now
double energy symbols.
Yeah, I've recently tweaked it and put Hulk out in as a basic action as well to give X-23 Overcrush. Then I don't need to rely on the Medusa Black Bolt combo as much, as well as a little backup.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, because there's a lot of purchasing cost that you need to get your X-23 plus your Medusa plus your Black Bolt to make that happen, right?
Yes. My perfect game is going second, getting Medusa first, then X-23, then Black Bolt in 3 turns. In theory.
Yeah, for sure. I can see how that could work when it does work, when it works well.
It pulled off a couple of weeks ago. I got a 5-turn kill with it.
Nice.
Very satisfying when it does, but it's a lot of moving parts to get it.
Yeah.
Get it perfect.
Yeah, I find particularly as you get more competitive with the game, like when I go to competitive tournaments, like sometimes I was only buying 1 or 2 dice and everything else was there. Like there was backup win conditions and there was, support and prep and all that sort of stuff. But particularly with Master Mold, you weren't buying a heck of a lot of stuff most games. Even when I was playing Thor, wasn't a lot.
I think I buy 5 dice total for this.
Nice.
And your highest one is 5 cost. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have PXG on there, you can totally roll.
Yeah.
All the time.
And it's really tempting for the opponent to use that prep, and that's what I want.
Yeah, and when we say PXG, for those that are unfamiliar, we're talking about the original Professor X. Professor X, which read, I have to scroll back a far away. Pay a mask, move up to 2 psychic dice from your use pile to your prep area. And there was no limit on that. It was no once per turn, no once per turn on your turn. You could do it as much as you could pay for it. That was initially launched in Uncanny X-Men. So that was available on a couple of cards there. So with that said, it's a really good way to prep a lot of dice. And potentially take bag burn if you can't do the math fast enough, which is how I roll.
I'm terrible at using PXG.
I'm constantly on edge with it.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at PXG. I didn't really understand it. I think we've talked in the past, Kim, about how when I first started playing, like, we never played with globals.
Yeah.
Or action dice. We just bought characters and built walls, right?
Yep.
I'm sure we've told that story about, how many episodes is this? 115? We've probably told that story about 115 times. But yeah, we didn't really get it. So it was later. And then when Clayface came out.
Oh my gosh, that was another one.
Remember Clayface? Have you played with Clayface, Robyn?
I haven't had it in a team, but I've had people that have had it in theirs, and I struggle with it.
Yeah, especially when you've got the double Clayface going, where you have it and your opponent has it. Clayface's global reads, pay a mask once per turn. You may take a die from the use pile and add it to your reserve pool on any energy face, which then allows you to do other things with that energy. So It's pretty interesting. You can get a lot of energy. So even though it's once per turn, you can do it on your opponent's turn. You can do it on your own turn. There's a lot of things you can do. I remember practicing with it a lot and just starting to get the hang of it when it rotated. So, so how are you getting access to product in Australia, Robyn? Because I know that it has been challenging in the past for people to get product down there. We've heard that from people online, and we actually have a friend who lived in Australia for a while, Marcus.
Oh, yes.
And he was mentioning how difficult it was to get product when he was there.
Yeah, so we occasionally do some group orders from WizKids directly, which shipping is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of Australian sites that have older product, but they don't have access to the newer product, which is the hardest thing for us, that we do have to go directly from WizKids or Amazon for the newer stuff. The store that I play at used to have access to Tomb of Annihilations and the Mighty Thor, but it seems that they can't get that anymore either, so unfortunately my store can't get anything, which makes it even harder to run an event at the store when they can't order in product.
For sure.
I got really lucky when I started that there was someone that was leaving the scene and selling all of their stuff, and they'd been a collector pretty much since day one. So I got pretty much almost an entire full Dice Master set to start off with. So a lot of our newer players and all that just use my stuff. I send them the team builder and just go, build what you want, I'll put it together. Because I've got thousands of cards, I might as well have them being used.
As opposed to them sitting in boxes and binders in your basement like mine are.
Yeah, exactly.
You just hope nobody has duplicates. Could you imagine someone make like the exact
That is true. That does get a bit difficult occasionally.
Especially the popular cards.
Haven't had too many issues with that, because as well as our newer players as well, they're not familiar with the older stuff versus the newer stuff, so they're okay with getting older product as well currently, because to them it's all new. So it's not too bad, but it gets to the stage where it's like, well, I want to get the newer stuff, and it gets pretty expensive with both conversion rate and shipping, and then just the time as well and waiting for it to arrive.
Yeah, it could take almost a month to get there.
Yeah, I've had a few things sent over from some others on the Discord, the Dice Masters Online Discord, and it's taken like a month to 6 weeks or something, to the point where we're all getting concerned as if it's lost or not.
Yeah, if I remember right, Robyn, I sold you a dice bag, right?
I got the dice bag from
one of the tournaments.
Dice Masters vs. Cancer.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you won one. Okay. And it took me forever to sew it, possibly. But once I shipped it,
I sew as well.
Once I shipped it, I think it got there a lot faster than I expected it to.
It took 2 or 3 weeks.
I remember it was, I remember it taking like a couple of weeks for sure, but I felt like it was a lot faster than I had expected for you to receive it. I remember seeing it posted. I'm like, hey, it's there already. I think I posted yours and Collector Rob's at the same time in the UK, and yours came in before his did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got some promos from Collector Rob, and it took about 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh, and you're not even that far from each other, really, compared to us on
Our
this
shipping
side.
is really bad here.
Yeah.
Our shipping's terrible. Like, getting things from the other side of Australia can take up to 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think like just the UK in general has a lot of like postage strikes and things like that impact people's ability to get stuff in a timely fashion. So I remember I also sold a dice bag to Peter Vandervelder in the Netherlands, and I got notification that it arrived in the Netherlands, and he didn't get it for like another 6 weeks. Like, we were pretty sure it was lost, and I was like, is this the right address? Did I write it wrong? Like, what happened? It said that it got there, and then it just randomly showed up like 6 weeks later. Like, I was about to make him another one because I felt bad that the mail had lost it, and then it turned up. So mail, postage, what do we do with these things, right?
Can't live with it, can't live without it. There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, I use that
So-
bag all the time, like when I'm doing drafts. And it's
Awesome.
Bag for that. Because the ones that I make, I don't have like a bottom on them like that. I'm super lazy with them, so that one's just really handy.
Yeah, I've sort of got it down to a science. It's just a matter of getting in front of my sewing machine.
Yep, I'm the same.
So that was the challenge there, but it just takes a little bit of time. So you mentioned you started playing at home with your partner and sort of fell in love with it there. So I think I can definitely relate to that, because that's sort of where I fell in love with it. And now you've got a scene. So tell us a little bit about your store and where you play and how often and that kind of fun stuff.
So we play at a store called Beyond Odyssey. It's fairly new compared to a lot of the other stores around here, so I wanted to support a bit more of a local store. There's only one other of it, which is much further down south. It's their sister store. So I wanted to support a more smaller and local store, and it was a bit more central for some of our players as well. And I think I get about 8 to 9 players currently. We play once a month, looking at shifting to twice a month, but still debating on how that'll go numbers wise. Make sure that we still get enough people each time for it to be worth it and not overdo it energy wise as well.
8 to 9 is pretty good though.
Yeah,
That's a good
it
number.
is pretty good, because then if some players don't come, so that's like 8 to 9 consistently. I've got some other players that have come a few times but haven't been able to make it recently because of like work or things like that. So there's a few players that kind of shift in and out, and we still get 8 to 9 a month, which is pretty good. Like, I'd love to see everyone rock up at once. Like, that would be amazing. But life happens.
Yeah. So how did you get like your people? Like, how did you get these 8 people? Did you advertise to the store, or did you know these people, or
is there threats of death if they don't come? That you know.
Only to one of them. That's my best friend. That's fine. So I ended up teaching it to my best friend because I absolutely love it. I figured he would absolutely love it because we're both ADHD. I'm autistic. He's likely autistic, and so it's very much the tactile feeling of it and the strategy and everything. It like ticks every little happy box. So I taught him, and he immediately went and bought a fair amount of product as well. And then there's a Facebook page for the Perth Dice Masters. And so I posted up there that I wanted to run a night because there used to be a scene here, but unfortunately, making it hard to get product and everything, the scene kind of died down, and then COVID very much killed the scene. And I've been talking to one of the guys that used to run it, and he really wanted to play again, but didn't have the energy to keep running it anymore, which is completely understandable. He did it for a long time. So I posted up one day like, hey, I want to go. I want to organize a day to go play. And I think we had about 4 of us, maybe 5 there. Unfortunately, so Eddie that used to run it, he's the only one of the older members. Oh no, there's one more. So it's 2 older members that showed up. Everyone else is new players now that I've kind of just talked at about the game until they've decided to give it a go.
Nice.
And there's a few of them that have stuck and are regulars now. So yeah, unfortunately we've not got a lot of the older members have come back, but we've got majority of the players now are new players, so that's really good.
I probably would wonder like if those OGs, what they call them, players, the originals or whatever. I think if you would get product, I think they would probably come back. That would be my like
possibly, yeah.
If you were able to get in product in your product, it would probably drive them back in. But
I don't really get any interaction from them on the Facebook page, unfortunately. There's one of them that I know wants to, but because we play on weekdays, he can't make it. So I'm hoping to do a weekend one. Like, he did sell his stuff, but I have spoken to him and said he has access to mine if he does want to play. So hopefully I can do one and get him back in. But
you do like a
tournament. I don't really
tournament.
get any interaction.
You do a weekend tournament.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at hosting a tournament soon. Well, not soon. September we've got a Pixel gaming expo.
Okay.
And I've organised to have a table there to run a tournament.
Nice.
Hopefully I get the numbers for it, but because that would be our first actual tournament.
Jocelyn, you can go to Australia.
Well, I just did a bit of a search, and it's going to take me over a day to get to Australia, and I don't have that much vacation time left. So this year, not potentially on the agenda, but next year, like, who knows, right? 2024 is basically spoken for my holidays, but 2025, anything's possible. So I just did, like I said, don't know a lot about Australia aside from the fact of like generally where it is and all that fun stuff. So it looks like Perth is about the 4th biggest city in Australia and the largest city in Western Australia potentially, with over 2 million people. So pretty big place.
It's pretty much the only city in Western Australia.
Mm-hmm.
We're a very long city. We've gone out, so it's quite a bit of travel to get to most places in Perth.
Well, they say about Toronto, where we live, that Toronto is an hour away from Toronto, but that's just because of the traffic, not because of the geography. Yeah.
I used to drive an hour and a half just to get to work, and that was just barely crossing the river to get to the other side of Perth.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't even know how many people
I'm
are
wanting
in
to
metropolitan Toronto.
Yeah, I'm wanting to advertise through the store, but it is a bit harder since the store can't get product, so I'm not really sure how to go about doing that. And my concern as well is bringing in new players if there's not getting supported still, like if we end up not getting more product. I feel a bit bad bringing new players into a game that's not active.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that ship has sailed, Robyn.
Yeah. But then again, I have thousands of cards and thousands and like tens of thousands of combos that newer players don't know about. So I have, with bringing new people in, there is still a lot of life to the game than there is for the people that followed it from the start, I guess, because there's a lot more learning and the excitement of seeing all the new stuff in the form of older product.
For sure, definitely. And I'm only half joking because, obviously WizKids hasn't said anything at all about Dice Masters in any type of official capacity since Gen Con of last year.
Yeah.
Which is almost a year ago now. Unofficial rumors, you've probably heard us talk about on the podcast, that they said something at Gamma, like no word on Dice Masters till 2025.
Yes, I did say that.
But that's just unofficial rumor from someone who heard it from their store owner, who heard it from someone who was at Gamma. So I'm not putting too much stock in that until we know. But I do agree that there is still things to be found in Dice Masters. I think even if you are an established player who played with these cards before, and I think there's a couple of things there that I personally think about, which is, the rules haven't changed per se, but they have been updated. So it's possible that card interactions that were played previously might not work the way they used to with the updated interpretation of how rules work and those types of things and how cards are read. So there could be new combos to unleash, and it's just a matter of exploring different things and seeing how they go. So
yeah, I think I am lucky with starting to run the scene after the comprehensive rules have come out. That definitely makes it a lot easier. I keep a printed copy with me just in case.
The comprehensive rules are very helpful for sure. And I would say that's probably the number one place you want to go to when you're reviewing like a rules interaction, because even some of the old win rulings on some of the specific cards may not actually work anymore because of the way the rules have been updated. Yeah.
That and the Discord as well. I'll frequently post on the rules channel of the Dice Masters Online one asking if myself or some of our older players can't figure it out or don't agree, then I'll post it in the Discord, and usually someone's about to discuss it.
Yeah, definitely. That's
don't
very helpful. Well, I mean, that happens in all games, I think.
Yep.
Well, we did have one that I'd had the discussion on it beforehand. We all came to a conclusion. Someone posted it on the WizKids rule forum, and the day after my event, WizKids ruled on it, and it was the opposite of what everyone had agreed on.
Yeah.
Like, well,
that
it is what it is. We've already done it.
Yeah.
That happens. I mean, you know, sometimes you just do the best you can, right? Regardless of what game you're playing. You know, the game that I'm playing most often lately has been HeroClix, different WizKids game, but you know, similar types of things happen, right? You know, the comprehensive rulebook, you make the interpretations, people argue, and then, you know, as the judge, you just kind of have to make a call, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to run it this way tonight, and we're going to look it up later. And if we were wrong, we're going to say, hey, we were wrong. This is how it should have been done. And if we were right, we'll say, hey, yeah, we're the best. You know, remember, we're really good at this, and that's why we're the judge. So
Funny. Cool.
So friends and friends have joined your legion of Dice Masters fans in Perth, Australia, and you just continue to play your monthly events and see how things go.
Yeah, pretty much. Hopefully,
And
get
then
more players as we go, but it's been pretty steady lately. And at the end of the day, if I don't get many players on a week, I'm still getting to play, so I'm still happy.
Exactly. And do you play much at home still, or just primarily when you're out and about? Like, are you testing your teams and practicing for your event? Do you run themes?
Bit of both. I don't do as much at home as I used to, but when we're putting together teams for weeks, my partner and I will generally have a bit of a play test and see how they go. Starting to do a bit more theme stuff. So we did a commons only one last week, just because I'm a bit conscious of the themes, given that we've got newer players, so I want to make them accessible as possible. Did a Halloween theme for last year, which went really well. So it was basically any way that you can justify it as Halloween. Left it super open, and pretty much everyone made a team. One of our players is still running his team because he really enjoyed it. I brought in a special global that I created for it that everyone would have access to. Just an extra thematic one.
Tell this global.
So it was trick or treat. Once on your turn, play a mask, and you can choose either trick, deal 1 damage to your opponent, or treat, gain 1 life.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So I've been looking at other ways I can do things like that, and like that doesn't take a card slot or anything. That's just an open one that everyone has access to when we remembered it was there.
Right. Always the trick.
Yep.
The treat.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
It was interesting. Yeah, it was interesting to see the decisions that people made, whether they were gonna have their opponent lose a life or if they were gonna gain a life. And it wasn't big enough to like hugely turn the tide of the game, but it was just a little bit of a extra decision making to go on it.
So did your players know about that global going into the build?
Yes, I posted up beforehand.
Interesting. Did anyone like build a team that leaned into that?
No,
That you can recall?
no. I think I will run that one again though and see how it goes the second time.
Yeah, because I think there's a couple of things you can do with life gain, and there's also some things you can do with when you damage your opponent and multiplying that damage. So I could see that could. I think the once per turn stipulation is a great way to do it. But I could also see there's probably some cool combos that you could pull out of that if you sort of put some time into building something interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely something different. I also made a bunch of like Halloween themed dice bags for it and put like some candy and stuff in them and did like little trick or treat bags for the night, which doubled as dice bags that some of my players are still using, which is really nice to see.
That's awesome.
It's like you, Jocelyn, except you bring us like cupcakes and cookies and.
I mean, I used to back when we played regularly.
I know, and then you moved away.
I moved away before. Well, I guess we were still playing pretty regularly up until the time I moved away. At least you and I were, Kim.
Yeah.
No one else might show up,
but we got to play. Yes.
At least you and I were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did try to do that. I haven't had time to bake anything in ages. I think the last time I
need to do some more
Christmas. Baking. Anyway, I don't know when that's going to happen, but maybe something will happen at some point for me.
I don't do the baking.
I do have a cake recipe I want to try. It's like an espresso cake, like an espresso chocolate cake, and it looks delicious. But I just haven't had an occasion to make it for, and or time to create an occasion to make it for. So it's on my to-do list.
It's on your to-do list when you visit Mrs. Saga next, so you can bring me some.
Well, you could come visit me here. You and Dave could come, and
we need to get that on the calendar.
Well, we've been talking about that since I moved.
I know. I think
Robyn,
once come? The summer hits, right? Because
apparently it only takes a day to fly here.
That's not that bad.
Super jet it.
And it's only a 12-hour time difference, so it's just a matter of like adjusting your schedule.
Yeah, I'll get to go back in time while flying.
Exactly. Absolutely. You get to come back into the past. Absolutely.
So you take that time difference off and it's only 12 hours then. It's fine.
Exactly. No problem.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
What's with everybody getting like everybody's thinking? We're all thinking alike today. I had a question. Now I forgot what it was.
It's great minds, Kim.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Great minds think alike. Oh, tournament play, Robyn. You went into the first tournament, which was it Dice Masters versus Cancer one?
Yes. Yeah, that's the only one I've done.
What made you want to actually go into tournament play? Which I think is great because that's where you learn the best. But
yeah, I've been wanting to do more like online play as well, which I haven't done since then, but that's not the point. I wanted to kind of just step up my gameplay as well because we play super casually with my scene with a lot of new players. So I wanted to do something a bit more competitive against people that played a bit more, and also it's for a really good cause as well. I've had cancer affect my family too, so having it all going to a cancer research facility was definitely a big motivator for it as well. So I played one game online the Friday before and then went straight into the tournament. So I was still getting my camera set up and everything. And it was, I think, 3 a.m. for us.
Yes, I remember it being in the middle of the night for you. Yeah.
Dedication.
I saw the sunrise.
Determination.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome.
I only won one of my 4 games, but it was a lot of fun.
That's great. It's a good start and sort of gets you to interact more with different people in the community. I mean, online has been a little bit softer generally lately at all, like just with the lack of product release and the lack of word. A lot of people have started tipping their toes into other games like Kim.
Yes. Like me.
Playing Lorcana.
Yes. You know what? I still have my magic deck sitting here,
Well, we just have to get game night on the books.
I know. Speaking of other games, Robyn, do you play any other games?
I actually tried the new Star Wars Unlimited game yesterday.
Very nice.
It's quite an interesting format. We're still deciding if we're going to buy it. We found it on Tabletop Simulator to give it a go before we buy it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was quite interesting. They do a lot of board gaming as well. Definitely getting a lot more into that. Last weekend did a big game of Dune with the friends. That was a lot of fun.
Dune or June?
Dune.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. It's just me. I've never played it.
Yeah, it's just Kim. Don't worry about it, Robyn. It's just Kim.
It's just me. I'm deaf and I remember last time 2 seconds ago, so we're good.
She's like what's it? Dora?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Is it
Dory.
Dorma?
Dory.
Dory. You knew what I meant.
Dora the
Dory
Explorer?
from Finding Nemo. I always do that. Dory versus Dora. Anyway, backpack. Anyway.
Yes.
Moving on.
Backpack. Well, you should.
The image of Dory with backpack.
Well, we do play Saturday night board games, so which is Sunday morning your time. If you're ever interested in playing some board games with us.
What time does that normally start at?
9:00 night, which is like 9 morning for
9
you.
a.m. for you.
Possibly.
Sunday.
Usually busy Sunday mornings, but hopefully I can make it in one day.
Yeah, if you're on our Discord, so you can see everything that pops up that we have scheduled, and some things you don't have to own. You could just proxy or just go with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be good. It would be good to get more games to the table.
Yeah, I mean, over so much I have that I haven't even played, so buying and not playing, it's a bad habit.
It's a different hobby.
Collecting. It's a collection.
That's true. I finally moved all the stuff that was on the floor in the living room. Finally.
I know Jordo calls it his shelf of shame, but I don't think it should be shameful. You should celebrate that you were able to buy those games, and eventually you'll play them.
Eventually.
Okay, look, I have like 6 different versions of Taco Goat Cheese Pizza Cat right now, and I haven't played any of them. Because they're cheap, and I'm obsessed. So
I'm not
I got
a fan
the
of that
original.
game.
Oh, it's so fun.
Too much slapping, and you might punch someone or slap someone or hands on. I don't know.
That's the fun part. Have you played Taco Goat Cheese Pizza Cat, Robyn?
No.
She's gonna go look it up now.
I might need to.
It's a little card game. So I first got introduced to it a few years ago. Rob and I went to visit my sister. It was the first time we traveled after the pandemic, and we went to visit my sister. She lives in Vancouver, so she's like all the way across Canada. It's a 5-hour flight. There's a 3-hour time change, and she's not super into games. She'll play Ticket to Ride. That's like her only game that she plays, and she's just not big into games. But her husband is. And he just picked this up off Amazon for $10. It was in like, it showed as like an ad or something. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that. So basically, what it is it's like a matching game almost. Like, so you get a hand of cards and you throw down a card and you say taco, goat, cheese, pizza, cat, depending on where you are in the cycle. Like each person says the next word, but it might not match the cards you put down. If it does match the card you put down, then you slap it and you get the cards and not injured. But then there's also some fun things in there. There's like a walrus and a unicorn or something, a narwhal. I can't remember. Like you have to make like funny little. There's a gorilla. You have to make the gorilla. Yeah. The walrus you tap
the
on
action.
Walrus, groundhog. I can't remember.
I think it's a walrus.
Anyway,
I don't think it's a groundhog.
I don't know.
What did you do with that one? I don't know.
So whatever. It's. There's weird things you do. And so anyway, there's Taco Goat Cheese Pizza Cat. And then there's Taco Goat Cheese Pizza Cat on the flip side, which I own, but I haven't done anything with. But recently I learned that you're doing it from the back sides of the images instead of the fronts of the images.
Okay.
Hence on the flip side. So you're looking at like the back of the goat. I don't know how you look at the back of a pizza. Is it just like the crust? I have no idea. I probably should open the box. And then there's another one that's like birthday cake something something, and then
I just looked it up. I've just seen that version. Where is it? Taco Hat Cake Gift Pizza.
That's right.
Jesus, I can't even make it through that sentence.
Which then I purchased in French. So I have a French version, and then when we were in Italy recently, I came across a version there, so I now have a version in Italian.
Did you get the one that's the maple syrup one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
There's a maple syrup one. I guess it's more Canadianized one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just keep buying them.
Yeah,
but
you should. Now you have a collection going.
I do. I took 2 versions of it with me to my conference this weekend, which was silly because I knew I wouldn't have any time to play any games. But I took them anyway, and we did not have time to play any games. I also took it last year to Memphis for WizKids Worlds. When I went to play HeroClix, but again, didn't have time to get together. It's more fun the more people you have.
Yeah, it could go up to 8 players, I think. More? 8?
Yeah. 2 is not enough people. 3 is fine. The more players you get, it's better. It's like Munchkin, right? The more players you have, like the better it is. And it's like a party game.
So the Canadian one is Taco Puck Maple Syrup Canoe A.
Oh, that's cheesy. I can't buy that one.
Yes, you can.
I can't do it. I can't buy that one. Kim, if you want to buy that one...
I'm going to buy that one for you for Christmas.
We'll keep it at your house, okay?
I don't want that in my house.
You can put it on your shelf of not shame.
It's underneath the shelf that it's hiding.
We need an Australian version now.
They might be.
So what
Who
would an
knows?
Australian version have? It'd have to, like a Barbie,
Taco.
like barbecue, right?
Kangaroo.
Kangaroo, yeah.
Oh,
Boomerang.
kangaroo. That'd be a good one.
Yep.
Jeez.
Okay, moving on from taco.
Yeah. But taco, goat cheese, pizza cat just kind of like rolls off the tongue. But I'm sure the other ones will too if you practice them enough.
Except puck might be something else that can't come out, but
I think the taco gift one is better in French because you've got like, there's a hat, so it's chapeau, and then a present is cadeau, and then like it seems to it flows off a little bit better than it does in English. So. And I don't remember what the Italian one is. It's in my basement. I can't get it right now. Anyway, so that's a game that I have. So,
did you have anything for us, Robyn?
Hadn't thought about that.
Well, how did you find our podcast? Because I believe you were a new listener that was plowing through all our episodes.
Yes, I've done that with a few podcasts now. So I started with the Ministry of Dice.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to all of that, and then I ran out of that and had to find a new podcast. And so I found your one, made it all the way through that, and then found DM United as well. I have a lot of time at work with podcasts on.
That's good, though. I mean, you can just listen to it while you work.
Yeah, I have podcasts on all day, so I'm well and truly caught up.
That's awesome. And what other types of podcasts do you listen to? Because it sounds like you have a lot of time to listen, you said.
I'm listening to some board game ones currently. I'm listening to Shut Up and Sit Down.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of
And
them.
the Board Game Barrage. So ones that are like interesting that I can actually kind of think about, like if there's games I want to get or if I'm curious about, and if they come up in the podcast and be like, oh, okay, that sounds really cool, or oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't get that.
Mm.
There's a podcast that I listen to sometimes. I kind of go in and out of it, but it's called Stuff You Should Know. Have you heard of that one?
Vaguely. I haven't listened to it though.
Yeah, the two guys that run it, they're two Americans, Josh and Chuck, and basically each episode is about, they sort of do some research, and it's like almost like a Cole's Notes. Do you have Cole's Notes in Australia? Is that a thing?
Not that I know of.
It's a Canadian
All right, so I have to
thing.
explain Cole's Notes now. Cole's Notes is like if you have like a classic book, like Romeo and Juliet, for example, like a Shakespeare play. The Cole's Notes version, Cole's was a bookstore here way back in, I think it's gone now. It was absorbed by a big corporation. But they would do like what they called the notes of each of these like classic books. So it's basically like a cheat sheet. So if you're reading Shakespeare and you don't understand the Shakespeare, the Cole's Notes explains the Shakespeare to you in plain English.
Yep.
So they do a Cole's Notes type version of a particular topic. So a lot of them are very, I'm going to say very American specific, not even North American, but like US of A specific. But it is interesting to hear them talk. They talk a little bit about whatever the topic is. They've done some research and they sort of explain it to you in layman's terms, and you learn a lot doing that. So I don't listen to every episode, but I do listen to some. They put out a new episode every week, and then they put out what they call a selects, which is a repeat from a previous year. And then they do some things they call short ones that are like $15. They're 15 minutes. So it's something that's not long enough to make a full episode, but is still interesting. So
Like a short.
yeah, it's a short. So basically they called it short stuff, but I'm just looking. One of the ones they recently did that I thought was very interesting was the War of the Worlds panic myth. So the War of the Worlds, of course, was a book, and then they turned it into that radio play, which they didn't identify well as a radio play, and people thought that like aliens were invading the United States. It was sort of an interesting thing there. So it's a good podcast. There's a lot of interesting things there if you're looking for something to listen to.
Yeah, I might check it out. At least scroll through the titles and see if there's any like specific episodes that draw my attention.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Anything that looks interesting or you want to know about. Yeah.
Kim doesn't listen to podcasts.
I do not. Not even my own.
That's not true. You listen to it if you have to edit it.
That is true. But other
I
than
never
that,
used to.
I never.
I have a lot of time at work where I'm wearing a headset.
Yeah, I also did not listen to a lot of podcasts previously. Dice Masters podcasts, sort of Ministry of Dice, Double Burst, a couple of things like that, but I didn't do a ton of it. But now for work, I do a lot of driving. So podcasts are a great way to pass time when I'm driving, particularly when, it's not the right time of day for me to be in touch with my team at work and things like that.
Yeah.
The rest of the time I'm on phone calls, so.
Yeah. Or if you're exercising or walking or something, you listen to podcasts.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Depends on what I'm doing if I'm walking. If I walk outside, I try not to listen to podcasts because I want to focus on like the outside sounds, birds and
dog barking and
no dog barking. No dog barking. Yeah, so anything else, Robyn, that you wanted to chat about? We've done all the question asking and made you do all the talking.
I'm not really sure.
That is okay.
Shall we get into Dice Bag then? Which we don't have big of.
Sure, Kim, but for some reason my Google won't load. So, let me see if it'll open now. Oh, now it's working. Okay. So, moving to the dice bag, which is where we'd insert a dice bag sound if we had one, which we don't.
Nope.
Just rattle one of your dice bags.
That's true.
That would just require us to have dice and
I would
stuff
have to
ready.
shake this.
Actually.
It's in like a thing, but
Yeah, I have one on my desk.
There you go.
There, that's a
There
good
you go.
sound.
Yeah.
I apparently had a dice bag of dice on my desk.
See?
There was a time when I would have had a dice bag of dice on my desk, but right now I have all kinds of other things on my desk. So, we got some feedback from episode 114 where Jocelyn and Jordo
Yes,
went through
Jordo.
turn order. And Nick Jackalope Spam said, "Wow, another special guest." So there you go, Kim. You are a special guest,
Jordo.
even when you're your Jordo. Kim playing the part of Jordo is a special guest. And then Robyn, you yourself provided some feedback about what you'd like to hear in future episodes, suggesting an episode on interesting keywords that we don't see often. Specifically, you mentioned that you'd heard about Spark, but you'd only seen it once in person and just recently discovered Aftershock. And Collector Rob sort of joined in conversation with you and said that you must have discovered the awesome might of Hulk Warbound. And you had said you were actually looking at Aunt May because you were working on that Commons Only team. And Collector Rob said he only mentioned him as it's a meme card because it's one of the worst super rares.
I didn't even end up using Aunt May because I couldn't find the dice for it.
I'm curious now. I'm gonna look up that one. Hulk.
But one of our other players had 2 Aftershocks in their team, so I'm glad that I looked it up the day before because then I could help them out with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was good timing for it to suddenly pop up.
Did you find it, Kim?
Yes. Wow. 8 cost.
Oh my gosh.
Super rare. Has the Aftershock keyword. All players move all dice from the prep area to their used pile. That's
Why?
dumb. And Aftershock is when you get KO'd by means of your opponent, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, when your dice is removed from field by your opponent in any way.
Oh.
So capturing also counts.
Well, that would probably be the only way to do it because he's a 7-8-9 defense.
Yeah. Good luck.
So, not really the type of die you want to have with an Aftershock ability.
No.
You would want something with a low defense to make that a little bit easier.
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I guess that's why Collector Rob remembers it because it's such a bad super rare.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
There is. So that was all from the dmNorthTV Discord channel. We have the Discord channel for a Double and Dice Convo, where we have a little bit of conversation after each episode drops. I did get another piece of feedback, Kim.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got it from this guy, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of him before?
Mm-hmm.
I might have mentioned him once or twice, or 117 times. He and I were just chatting, and he just said that he thought that the episode was really well done, and that the update to the turn order was something that he felt went really well. So that was good. That was good to hear, because if I recall correctly, both of us were very tired when we were recording that episode.
I forget how Dice Masters even worked. I haven't played in like months.
I remember after that, recording that episode, Kim, messaging you, saying, I think we need to redo the attack step because I think we screwed it up, because I was so tired by the end of it. And when I re-listened to it, I was like, oh, this is okay. It's not horrible at all.
Did you
it
listen?
Turned out just fine.
Did you listen to it, Robyn? Are you caught up?
Yes.
Yeah, you
yes,
did
I
caught
did.
up. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm listening the day that they come out now.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. We appreciate you. How did you find the turn order episode? Was it helpful to you as someone who's sort of teaching new players and judging the game?
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm in the middle of writing like a bit of a checklist of the turn orders to help, like being able to go through and go, cool, I've done this, cool, this triggers now. Just for when some of the weirder abilities come in, especially for the attack step.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely using it as a bit of a resource for helping me write that.
Nice.
Yeah, the attack step is that step that is just so rigid. Like there's not a lot of flexibility in how it's done.
Yeah.
You have to follow the order. And I think that's where I felt like we had messed up, because we started talking about when damaged and when KO'd effects. And the truth is that you have to start with the unblocked attackers first. That has to happen before anything else. Although all damage is simultaneous, you have to start there. But I believe we corrected ourselves, aka I corrected myself, and we sort of got back on track. So it wasn't the train wreck that I thought it was going to be.
Not a pop culture one.
Not a pop culture one, not a gaming one either. It all worked out. Apparently it was a good episode. Who knew? Who knew? So, and that was it, Kim. That was all we had for the dice bag. So we'll take some of those suggestions to potentially look at keywords. That's something that I think would be a great idea, as well as, taking a look at that.
I don't think we've ever done a keyword episode.
Which seems strange.
It does seem strange. I'll have to look it up.
How many keywords are there, Kim?
52.
How
I don't know.
How long of a series do you think we can make out of that?
52.
Until we have.
I don't know how much.
Until we have. Well, you could count. You could go to the keywords page.
I could, which I am going to right now, but
I know you are. I'm doing it too. This is what we do.
This is.
I don't know how you count it.
I'm not counting. I have to count individually. It's not like it gives you a number.
Do it.
I think their website is the slowest to load. Every time I click it, it takes forever to load.
I think it's your internet.
I don't know.
I don't think there's 52
as well.
But there's quite a lot. Like just through A, you have Adventurer, Aftershock, Ally, Amplify, Anti-Breath Weapon, Attune, and Awaken. So
there we go.
You probably would need to do Breath Weapon and Anti-Breath Weapon in the same episode, though. Because I don't think you could really explain Anti-Breath Weapon if you hadn't explained Breath Weapon first. Right?
I'm counting.
61.
Oh.
You're counting. Oh, sorry, Kim. I didn't mean to drop. 61. Well, that's like over 2 years of content.
Wow.
There you go. You're set for a while.
Nobody would listen to us anymore.
Well, it couldn't be the only thing we would do. We would still have to have awesome guests like Robyn on every once in a while. Or Kim playing the part of Jordo.
Well, she said the non-common ones. We'll have to pick the ones that don't come up often. Like we wouldn't do Overcrush.
Why not? I feel like we did one on Frag once.
We gotta do Cleave because that just sounds weird.
Cleave is a good one.
For more, that's interesting.
I like Energy Drain.
I feel like that's from Spider-Man.
Back for More.
Amazing. Amazing Spider-Man, potentially.
We can make this work. We can even like do a little turn. That's how it works. Yeah, we'll pick some.
We could start with obscure, and that could be the name of our series. Obscure keywords starting with obscure.
All right, you're in charge of the funny names for the episodes.
The funny names.
We gotta do turtle power.
You mean the creative names?
Jordo says we should do turtle power.
Jordo's playing turtles. Oh, that's so funny.
He actually never said anything to me about the episode. Maybe he didn't listen.
I'm going to assume he didn't listen, because if he did, I think
he would have said
something. By now.
Yes, I know. He would have said something.
I'm going to message you on Saturday, Kim, to remind you to say something to him.
All right.
When you're on board games.
Now you need Jordo on as Kim.
That would be funny. Maybe I should take a break one day and you do it with Jordo. And he could be
well, then Jordo would have to record it, because I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah. Or I could just be in the background and just record it and just like...
you couldn't just be in the background.
And put myself on mute while I laugh and all that stuff, and nobody knows I'm there.
I mean, in theory, I could probably figure out how to record the episode, but what to do with it after is the problem.
Just have to get it to me, that's all. Then I really have to listen to the episode.
Because you won't know what's in it.
Exactly.
That's how I felt when I was in Italy, when I listened to you and Jordo talk about Dice Throne.
Oh, yeah. Dice Throne, that might be a good one for you, Robyn.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. I haven't played it before, but I might give it a go.
That's dice.
I do like dice games.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Dice are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's all we have, Kim. Is there anything happening in coming events?
Nope. Other than we play board games on Saturday. Every Saturday. We pretty much every Saturday. And then we play Lorcana now has been moved from once a month to twice a month. So it seems to be a big of a hit. So we do that first and third Mondays of the month. Second Mondays of the month is Dice Throne. And the fourth Mondays is a break.
Nice. I really wish you were streaming still, Kim. I know you're recording the Lorcana games, but I like the streams better.
Yeah. I think it's just because we're just doing cash. We're not up for streaming on Mondays, but
it would help me as someone who is potentially maybe going to get into Lorcana.
Which you bought a deck and haven't done anything with. Shame on
I have
a shelf.
2 decks and they're not open yet. Speaking of that, we saw Petrus this week.
I saw your picture on Facebook.
Petrus is our friend from Ottawa, Robyn. He lives about 4 hours away from us, and he plays Dice Masters, and he also plays Lorcana. He primarily plays Lorcana now, and he was in town for work, and so he messaged me, and Rob and I got to meet up with him for dinner, and he was like over surprised that I hadn't opened my decks yet, because apparently in the Lorcana starter decks there's a booster pack.
Yes.
And in the booster pack there could be an enchanted.
Yes. That could be worth thousands of dollars.
Yeah. There's not going to be thousands of dollars worth of enchanted in my packs, but eventually I'm going to open them. Maybe next week.
So you have to do Lorcana and I have to do Magic. Well, mine's already open. I just haven't played it yet.
I have to open it and sleeve it. That's my plan. So, Rob and I played a little bit of Star Wars Unlimited last week. We were sort of getting refreshed on that one. I really like Star Wars Unlimited. We picked up the starter decks, and then he ordered a bunch of singles, but it's a little easier to come by product here, I think, than it is in Australia.
We've just had a big release of the Star Wars Unlimited. So it's,
nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I might look into it a bit more.
What I liked about it was that you had the sort of the interaction between, do you defeat your opponent's like units, or do you go after their command center? It was kind of an interesting concept, and then you have the space units and the ground units, and they can't interact with one another. So it was kind of neat, some of the mechanics that were in there.
I do like the resources are just any card from your hand put face down, so your deck isn't clogged up with energy or mana like Magic.
Mm-hmm.
you're always going to
Agree.
have access to resources, but then the hardest choice sometimes is I need resources, but I also want all of these cards.
I think Lorcana has something similar, right, Kim?
Yes.
Your resources are basically just cards, but there's certain cards that you can't do that.
Correct.
They're called what? Uninkables? Is that the language?
Yeah, you ink them, or you can't ink them to use them as your paying cost, pretty much.
Yeah.
As your resource.
Flesh and Blood was similar. Flesh and Blood has a pitch thing, so each card will have a pitch value of 1 to 3. You can pitch that, and that's the energy that you get to spend on playing other cards.
Yeah, it's interesting how all of these games sort of, I think they all sort of come from the same sort of general basis, and then it's just like little tweaks from there.
Yeah, all pretty much have the same mechanisms almost, but different.
Yeah, same mechanics.
Yeah,
just different names or slight tweaks. So. Yeah. But you know what doesn't have just the same stuff as everything else, Kim?
Dice Masters, because it doesn't
That's
have
right.
No dice.
That's right. Dice make the difference. So that's our new hashtag. Dice make a difference. Dice make the difference. The difference, I think. Dice make the difference.
The difference. Makes.
dmTD. Hashtag dmTD. Dice make the difference.
Okay, can you put that in the sheet so I remember to hashtag it?
Yeah, absolutely. Dice make the difference. I'll put it right in right now. Dice make the difference. And then hashtag dmTD. I hope that doesn't mean something anywhere.
Well, you can look it up.
Well, we'll find out when you hashtag it, Kim. Yeah. So on that note,
yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was gonna thank Robyn.
Excellent. You should do that then.
Robyn, thank you very much for coming on our Wacky podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This is where the fun happens. I know it took a while for us to get together, but we finally made it work with our schedule. So I'm happy that we can.
We got there in the
on.
end.
Yeah, it's a holiday there for you today, right?
Yes, it is. It's WA Day.
WA Day.
Western Australia Day.
Western Australia Day. Yep.
Haha. Light bulb. That's awesome, and it's winter where you are, I think, right?
Not. Yes, it is. I was gonna say not yet, and then realize we're in June.
Yeah, like it's probably, I don't know what winter is specifically like in Western Australia, but it's the colder season anyway.
Yeah, somewhat.
But you don't get snow.
No, not in Western Australia.
Okay.
We do over the east side of Australia, but not in this side.
Yeah, we're obviously on the opposite side of the world. We're going into summer where the weather is generally warm, but it's been pretty rainy. So we're babbling, and you probably have things you want to do with your holiday. And when I babble, that usually means that I'm ready for bed. So on that note, we want to thank you, Robyn, for joining us, as Kim has already done. And we hope that you continue to enjoy the podcast, and please continue to reach out. And if you would like to reach out like Robyn did, you can send us a message on our Discord channel through dmNorthTV at a Double and Dice podcast convo. You can send us an email at dm-north.com. You can visit our website at dm-north.com and leave a comment on our episode post. You can at Kim or I on Discord. Kim is at SuperK. I am at Jostitch, J-O-C-E Stitch. And you can also visit us on YouTube at youtube.com/dmNorthTV, on Twitch, twitch.tv/dmNorthTV, and find us on all the socials that we're aware of. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, all of those things at dmNorthTV. So until next time, on a Double and Dice.